Good afternoon, or evening, or morning, depending upon where in this great world of ours you are. I am Patricia Angelin at Alba Technique, and you are at All the Feels. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of this crazy thing. Oops, I don't want to find a face. It's very, very Mercury retrograde, and strange things are happening. All I want to do is figure out where I turn my camera around on here. Here we are. There we are. And now I seem to be in black and white. I had not intended to be in black and white, but I am. It kind of goes with how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling a little black and white, not terribly colorful. Today, I want to, the parable that I shared the Zen parable about the farmer last week on Instagram, which can be found on the YouTube channel for Alba Technique, made me think that it might be nice to have a bit of a change. And so I thought I would re-look at a couple of Aesop fables and see whether they resonated with me in any way. And so pretty much at random, I picked out a couple. And I had forgotten how incredibly short they are, which is kind of nice. So I will share with you a couple of lovely parables while you look at the beautiful roses and books and candles. Okay. Aesop fables. The olive and the fig tree. The olive tree ridiculed the fig tree because, while she was green all year round, the fig tree changed its leaves with the seasons. A shower of snow fell on them, and finding the olive full of foliage, it settled upon its branches, and breaking them down with its weight, at once despoiled it of its beauty and killed the tree. But finding the fig tree denuded of leaves, it fell through to the ground and did not injure the fig tree at all. I think that it's a very interesting thing, these fables. Each one of them, you know, when we were kids, they were talking about the morals of these things. And so, another one about trees. The trees under the protection of the gods. The gods, according to an ancient legend, made choice of certain trees to be under their special protection. Jupiter chose the mighty oak, Venus the myrtle, Apollo the laurel, Cybele the pine, and Hercules the poplar. Minerva, wondering why they had preferred trees not yielding fruit, inquired the reason of their choice. Jupiter replied, "It is lest we should seem to covet the honor for the fruit." "But," said Minerva, "let anyone say what he will. The olive is more dear to me on account of its fruit." Then said Jupiter, "My daughter, you are rightly called wise, for unless what we do is useful, the glory of it is vain." Truth and the Traveler. A wayfaring man traveling in the desert met a woman standing alone and terribly dejected. He inquired of her, "Who art thou?" "My name is Truth," she replied. "And for what cause," he asked, "have you left the city to dwell alone here in the wilderness?" She answered, "Because in former times falsehood was with few, but is now with all men, whether you would hear or speak." Well, that's interesting. All right, and finally, the rivers and the sea. the rivers joined together to complain to the sea, saying, "Ah, why is it that when we flow into your tides so potable and sweet, you work in us such a change and make us salt and unfit to drink?" The sea, perceiving that they intended to throw blame on him, said, "Pray cease to flow into me, and then you will not be made briny. Some persons find fault with those things by which they are chiefly benefited." That is a very, very interesting thing. And then, since we are looking at roses, and I thought that I had put this in, yes, there it is. The rose and the amaranth. Now, the amaranth is a flower that is that means eternity, that symbolizes eternity. An amaranth planted in a garden near a rose tree thus addressed it: "What a lovely flower is the rose, a favorite alike with gods and with men. I envy you your beauty and your perfume." The rose replied, "I, indeed, dear amaranth, flourish but for a brief season. If no cruel hand pluck me from my stem, yet I must perish by an early doom. But thou art immortal, and dost never fade, but bloomest forever in renewed youth." Aesop is very interesting. And I thank you so much for joining me on all the feels, even though I am feeling a little bit monochromatic at the moment. I'm all shades of gray emotionally, but all the better for being with you. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week at the same time on Instagram at Alba Technique. And you can tell friends that if they miss this, they would be very welcome to go to Alba Technique YouTube page. So thank you very, very much for being with me, and I will leave you with the roses.